Thank you. 12th chapter of Revelation. We're sisters getting our webpage started for it. And we're just going to have on there, welcome, a little bit who we are, and the salvation message. I have found that most people are really not really interested in the digging down deep in the scriptures or studies. Most people are really not. They're interested in knowing about Yahweh and His Son and baptism and keeping the commandments and such. And that's what we've got on there. And we're really not going to put anything else on there other than we'll put something on there. Like if you want to make a deeper study, you might try LEI.com, or if you want some music, go to songsforyahweh.org, and send, but mainly we just want to get the salvation message out. So I'm doing a little teaching on some things here that a lot of people don't really care to get in that deep. And there again, too, I teach what I believe in it, which is not necessarily what other people here believe. Revelation chapter 12. Before I start, I want to tell you, it's the story of Israel from the time of Yeshua until now. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Now in the parentheses here in the middle, I have Genesis 31:9. So you turn Genesis 31:9, and I think we can find out what this means. Well, maybe not. 37:9, I guess. Can't read.
I got 37:9.
It's 37:9. It's talking about Joseph, and he dreamed yet another dream, and told his brothers and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream, Lord, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisances to me. And he told it his father and his father's brothers and his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I, thy mother, and thy brothers indeed come and bow ourselves down to you to the earth? So Jacob realized that that dream actually was about him and his family, which is Israel. So, and she being with child, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head, and his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them till the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth, and Israel brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, Joshua. and her child was caught up to Elohim into his throne. And see, it skips, it shows his birth, shows the serpent there ready to destroy him, and then it skips through all the what most people call the New Testament, and he ascends up to the throne. And now the woman, Israel, fled into the wilderness where she has a place prepared of Elohim that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Now, she wasn't beaten. She wasn't starved. She was fed. Israel was fed. For 1,260 years. Now, I believe myself that you would count that after 70 AD, which would put you up into the 1300s, close to the 1400s, which brings us to what is called, I'm not sure I can pronounce it, the
Renaissance.
Yeah.
what he said.
Renaissance.
Renaissance.
Because, actually, I went up and copied down a couple of things while we were having dinner. Martin Luther was born in 1483, died in 1546. John Calvin, I wrote down his, or I looked up his dates, but I didn't write them down. William Tinsdale was from 1490 to 1536. Now these people were the people who began to regurgitate what that woman had been fed for 1,260 years probably after 70 AD. They began to regurgitate it, turn against the Catholic Church. Tinsdale was the first one to try to translate the Bible into the English language. He did. The Catholic Church hated him so bad that something like close to 100 years, I don't really remember the date, but they dug him up and burned him. They hated him so bad. So you got to realize what's going on here. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought his angels and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Elohim and the powers of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which has accused them before our Elohim day and night. And they overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. These people were killed, murdered, giving up their lives because of coming against this beast, and his church. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down unto you having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. Take note of that and remember it. When you can't decide whether you're going to go to service or not, take note of that. Remember it. You can't decide whether you're going to live right or not. Take note of that. Okay? You can't decide whether you need to keep his commandments or not. Take note of that. Time is short. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. He persecuted Israel. Now, I believe that Israel was in Europe, especially the British Isles. And these people we call them the Pilgrims, Puritans. You know why they left there and come here, right? He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child, and the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she's nourished time and half a time. Now, times and half time can be 3.5 days, 3.5 years. I believe it's probably 3.5 centuries. 350 years, probably. And she came to this country from the face of the serpent. And the serpent then, after he's tried everything else, he cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out his mouth. That's happening right now.
Amen.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman, with Israel. We're still talking about Israel. And went to make war with the remnant of her city. That's what we got out there on the sign. Remnant of Israel. Tabernacle in the wilderness. I believe we're a part of it. Which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahshua. The testimony of Yahshua is the Holy Spirit. We were teaching on that the other day. So, go to Ezekiel chapter 4. I want to tie this together. Still talking about Israel and Judah, okay? Thou also, son of man, take thee a tile, and lay it before thee, and portray upon it the city, even Jerusalem. And lay siege against it, and build a fort against it, and cast them out against it. Set the camp also against it, and set battering rams against it round about. We know that happens during the time of Ezekiel. Moreover, take thou unto thee an iron pan, and set it for a wall of iron between thee